Community Viewpoint with John Pollock and Maria Hurst.
And welcome to this segment of Community Viewpoint. I'm John Pollock, your host for this evening, or this morning, depending what time you're watching us. And we have the honor today to be talking to a couple of people that are well versed in something that's very, very important for our valley here, and that's the water. And we'll have some classes, we'll have some presentations coming up very shortly on the issue of water. So to my right, let me introduce Donna Lamb. Donna Lamb, a good friend of mine. We run the Southern Nye County Conservation District together. Also, what are some of the other things that you're on?
Well, I'm the executive director of the Amargosa Conservancy and the Nye County Water District also.
And that's the capacity that you're in here
yes,
today.
For Nye County Water District.
And on your right, do you want to introduce?
Daryl. This is Daryl Lacey. Go ahead, Daryl.
My name's Daryl Lacey. I'm the general manager of the Nye County Water District, as well as working for Nye County in a couple of other areas. But today we're here to talk about water.
Okay, so what's coming up? The show will be available sometime in the weekend prior to the presentations. We'll be on the air Monday morning, just in time for the presentations that'll be happening. What is it, October 1st?
October 1st.
Right. Well, starting Monday evening, as well as Tuesday and Wednesday, we have a lot of information about water coming up for you. If you live in the Pahrump Valley, then you drink well water. Mm-hmm. Whether you're on a municipal water system or have your own domestic well, and we have information and programs to help all of you understand what's going on here in the valley. The starting Monday evening at 5:15, mm-hmm. we're having a presentation by Rachel Kreider on our Community Source Water Protection Plan update. This is something that the Water District has been doing with the Nevada Department of Environmental Protection to identify all of the municipal water systems in the county, as well as all of the potential sources for contamination for those. So this is more of a quality issue.
Mm-hmm.
How do we identify a municipal water utility?
Well, we understand some of the larger utilities, those are municipal water systems, but also some of these smaller systems that hotels or gas stations might have. If you have 15 connections or 25 people.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's defined as a municipal water system. So, and we have quite a few of those in the Pahrump Valley. Churches, hotels, other types of things that have their own water system would be considered a municipal water system. And as part of our study for this, we went through and identified what the water pumpage was on this, how far out this water well supplying this municipal water system would pump from, and potential sources of contamination that are kind of within that capture zone for that well.
Mm-hmm. Right, so when you're capturing water from your well, you're creating, I've done some water classes, a cone of depression, mm-hmm. So actually the water you're taking brings it down and it forms like a cone, and it moves away from where your well is, right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So
that's compared to the dog wearing the cone of depression around his head.
Around his head, yes.
I'm trying to describe it the way I
different depression. Yeah.
But anyway, so what we're doing, we're taking water out of the ground. It doesn't come from just straight down. We're affecting areas, our neighbors' areas, depending on how much water we consume.
Right, and this was focused on the municipal water systems, not the domestic wells.
Right.
After this, at 6 o'clock, is the domestic well owners workshop,
right.
Where one of the things about the Pahrump Valley is we have the largest concentration of domestic wells in the state of Nevada. We have over 12,000 domestic wells.
Okay.
And about 40 municipal systems as well, which is a very high number.
So the domestic well owners workshop is, I guess, more focused on if you own your own domestic well and are providing your own water system, for people who need to understand how they work, what information you need to understand about owning and operating your own little water system.
Yeah.
Because you're providing your own water. And so that's being put on by the Nevada Water Resources Association.
Right.
Which is a group that the Water District is kind of partnering with on these presentations next week. Mm-hmm. The stuff on Monday night is free. On Tuesday night, we also have a free session by the state engineer, Jason King, is coming in to talk to us about the water issues in Nye County, specifically in Pahrump Basin also. Because of the high concentration of domestic water wells, as well as the overall usage and the number of water rights that we have in this basin, the Pahrump Basin is considered one of the most stressed and over-allocated basins as well in the state of Nevada. If you go to issues up at the state and listen to Jason King talk, he'll usually use the Pahrump Valley as the poster
example.
child for
Yep.
one that needs attention. And so we're trying to understand more about what's going on. There are some new laws passed in the last legislative session, particularly one called AB 419, which gives the state engineer a little bit more power and designation of what he calls a critical management area, and things that he can do if a basin does get to become critical. And I don't think we're critical yet, but we do understand that we have to be aware of things. We have to put some resources into the scientific studies, understanding the water quality and the water resources that we all share here in the basin. And that's kind of what comes up. In addition to that, during the day on Tuesday, we have a water rights class. Now, that's something you have to pay for. That's being put on by a couple of our, I guess one of our prior state engineers,
Hugh Ritchie.
Hugh Ritchie, and then
and
Mike Bushelman, who has been doing this for many, many years in Nevada, and an expert in water rights. And so on Tuesday is the basic water rights course, and on Wednesday is the advanced water rights course. So if you do anything, if you buy and sell real estate, you buy and sell water rights, if you have commercial wells and buy and own your own water rights, or it's probably worthwhile that you at the very least attend the basic. If you're doing more intensive work on buying and selling water rights, or have a large quantity in your portfolio, then I'd recommend you go to the advanced water rights class as well.
Interesting.
Absolutely, really good information. I've attended both of those classes numerous times over the years, and I learn something every time I go, so it's definitely worth attending.
Well, like I say, the state of Nevada has some very unique water laws that are different than other places that you might have lived. If you lived in California and moved here, our water rights laws are totally different than what they are in California, and I think it behooves you, if you play in that arena, to understand the details of the water rights. So,
Yeah. And the law is very complex. It
That's
really
correct.
is. So
overall, I mean, we've got something for pretty much everyone coming in next week in the way of water.
Yeah. So when we speak of the Pahrump Basin, we don't talk about just the town of Pahrump. The basin is larger than that.
That's correct. It goes all the way into California, and the water starts in the mountains in Clark County, the Mount Charleston area, and that whole Spring Mountain area is where all of our water originates pretty much. It starts as precipitation and then works its way down into the basin here.
Well, that's another thing we've never done. We've never been able to, with Tom Bucco, that was he was a stickler about that. We never can measure it properly with the rainfall, snowfall on our side of the mountain, what comes down. We don't have any way to properly measure that, do we?
Well, one of the things the Water District has been trying to partner with other groups, and we've been doing an awful lot of scientific work trying to nail some of that down and hopefully pull that back into a new water resources plan that we're required to submit to the state engineer on a periodic basis. And we're coming up later today is Levi Kreider's going to talk to you about some of the water science programs that we're doing to help understand that a little better.
Right. So, the only water that we live by is the water that comes from the Spring Mountains, Mount Charleston, from snowfall, from rainfall, and it moves in a westerly direction, basically.
Southwesterly.
Southwesterly.
Yeah.
And it winds up where? Death Valley?
Well,
Area?
Well, we're
still
pretty sure
finding that out,
it goes
yeah.
from here towards California. Now,
Yes.
where it goes from there, once it crosses the state line down towards Tacoma Highway and state line issue down there, we're not totally sure where it all goes from there, but it does pretty much leave the Pahrump area.
But right now, I just wanted to mention that the Amargosa Conservancy paid for a State of the Basin report over there. We have preliminary findings, but there's a lot more that we need to do to determine the exact flow paths.
And you'll be able to identify the water as being
where it came from. They do that by geochemistry
Mm-hmm.
tests, actually. They can tell where the origination was, and their thinking right now is that it's coming, at least in the Amargosa River, from probably 5 different sources, is what it's looking like.
Oh, interesting.
But we have to mention, too, that this area is extremely geologically complex, so it's not a straight path anywhere. There's faults and
we have
roadblocks
faults.
and-
We have the various types of sediments in the valley that are, you got gravels, you got fine sands, you got clays and other things. And like I said, Levi is much more adept
Right.
at talking about that as a geologist.
Absolutely.
So the times once again. Let's go through those.
Starting at 5:15 on Monday is when the
And this is going to be at the
Root Center.
Community source water protection.
Community Source Water Protection Plan is the first piece from 5:15 to 6. And then from 6 to 8 is the Domestic Well Owners Workshop.
And those are free.
Those
To
are
the
free
public.
on Monday night. On Tuesday night is when the state engineer's coming in at 6 p.m. to 8 to talk about just kind of the state of the basin report from,
And that's also free.
and that's also free.
Yeah,
And then that's the water rights classes that actually they charge you.
Yeah.
right.
And if you go to the Nevada Water Resources Association website, or if you look, there's ads in the paper today, as well as I think an article that Mark Waite wrote in the
Yeah.
PBT today that will tell you how to sign up for those workshops if you want to.
Okay.
Right, that's on page A4 of Friday's paper, so I happen to pick that up, so I have that in front of us here. So all the times for that, they don't have the 5:15 class, but, yes, they do the 5:15
Yeah, I
class.
think they do on
yes.
there.
So it tells you all about that if you want to get there, so there's information there, so we have that. We still have about 3 minutes. How do we want to wrap this up? This is something we should all be, not leery of, but educated
Aware.
on.
Yeah.
Because
Well, let's talk about the water district itself.
Okay.
I mean, if you're not familiar with the water district, the Nye County Water District was formed, I guess, in the 2007
Yeah, I
legislative
think it was
session is
7,
when the
yeah.
legislature actually passed the laws that set it up. But it took the county a couple of years to actually get it up and operating. So since about 2009, it's been up and operating, understanding some of the challenges here in the basin. We've been concentrating on water science, understanding the water resources and water quality, and some of those are coming to fruition. So the Community Source Water Protection Plan is one of those that's primarily looking at water quality. We also have a report coming out from a grant we received from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation that will be talking more about water resources throughout the county. It's not just a Pahrump Basin, but this is a Nye County Water District.
Okay.
We tend to concentrate on Pahrump many times because that's where more of the people
Most of the
live
people,
and
right.
where
Population.
where we probably have the most over-allocation of water. And, when we say over-allocation, we're talking about at least for every gallon of water here, there's 4 or 5 people think they own that gallon of water. Luckily, not everyone's not using it right now. So from a
Right.
pumpage perspective, we're not that far out of line. And we wouldn't say we're critical, although if you are in one of the areas of the basin where your water levels are dropping and you have to go pay a water well company to come out and lower your well, you may think it's critical. But we are trying to work on the science, on understanding the water resource, understanding where the water's coming from, where it's going, what's happening to it in the basin, so that we can make the best decisions possible.
Okay, we thank you, and we'll be right back with Levi Kreider, and we'll see you at the segment 2. Thank you. Thank you.